Best of r/entitled parents episode 131. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. So my boyfriend runs errands for the house since I'm isolated due to medical conditions. He heard this gem when he made a grocery run a few days ago. Cast of characters is simple: Karen and Lady. Lady was talking loud enough for everyone to hear but was talking to her friend. Karen enters the store with what my boyfriend calls a gaggle of children. The lady says loudly, "Why would you bring children out with all this going on right now?" Karen: "They need to get out of the house too." Karen: "You are what's wrong right now. You've hoarded supplies and don't care about anyone but yourself and your angels. Kids are out of school so they can stay home and that's where you leave them." I was so frustrated when I heard this. My immune system isn't strong. I cannot get this virus and Karen wants to take her kids on a field trip. Thank you. Next. I work as a volunteer/adoption coordinator for a local animal rescue group. It's a pretty small organization that I've been with for quite some time now. We don't have our own shelter, but we're partnered with a couple of pet supply chain stores that help us get some of our animals out in the open for people to see, specifically the company where the pets go. Well, in light of the COVID-19 crisis, and given that our governor issued a shelter-at-home order, we decided that, despite the fact that the store was staying open to serve the community, we would be pulling our cats out of the in-store habitat and placing them with fosters until this whole situation calms down. We did this for the safety of our volunteers and so that we don't create another gathering point where people will undoubtedly mash their faces and hands on the habitat to try and pet the cats through the door. I went in yesterday to meet our foster and to do a deep clean of the habitat itself. I showed up a bit before our foster did, in worn-out gym clothes, with my earbuds in. The staff all wear jeans, a store-branded shirt and a name tag. I decided to get a head start on the cleaning while waiting for the foster to show. I set up the foldable barriers they use for their puppy training class to prevent people from getting in my way and or accidentally touching cleaning chemicals. The store was mostly empty, but I wanted to be on the safe side. Our story begins, as so many do on this sub, with some bitchy Karen flying out of the ether with her spawn in tow. Excuse me, does anyone work around here? I've been looking for someone to help me for almost 30 minutes now and I can't find anyone. Me: I'm sorry about that, mom. The staff are all in front. They must have thought the store was still empty. Points to staff: there they are. Why can't you help me? Me: oh, I don't work for the store. I volunteer with the rescue group. So? Me: so I don't know where everything you're looking for is. Manager: over there can help you. Ugh. Your generation doesn't understand good customer service at all. Heaven forbid you should ever take out your headphones and help a customer. I can't believe your boss lets you wear those in front of customers. Manager, who's a super chill older dude, walks over after seeing harassing me. Manager: how can I help you, mom? Are you the manager? Manager: yes. You should really have a talk with your employee here. He was very rude to me and refused to help me. Manager: he doesn't work here. What do you mean he doesn't work here? Do you let random people clean the store? Manager: he is a volunteer for the rescue group we're partnered with. They're responsible for the habitat, not us. I can help you find what you're looking for. Fine. I'm looking for item for her dog. Manager walks off with her and listens to her bitch about how the store has no employees around. Knowing this manager, he is probably tuning her out. His staff are all really good at their jobs. They probably legitimately thought the store was empty. I went back to cleaning, and our foster mom showed up to pick up the 2 kittens we had in the habitat. We greeted each other and I let her behind my barrier to come pull out the kittens. We made small talk for a few minutes, thanking her for being so understanding about the whole situation. When comes back for more, as she approaches, we're pulling the kittens out of the habitat and loading them into carriers to be taken. EM's spawn notices. EK: mommy, I want to pet the kitty. Of course sweetie. Looks at foster: can we hold the kittens please? My son wants to play with it. Me: I'm sorry mom, we're not allowing visitation right now. You're letting her hold them. Me: she's our foster mom. She's being kind enough to home them for a while until this health crisis calms down. Well, can't we just hold them for a few minutes? Me, I'm sorry, but number. We're doing all we can to minimize human contact right now. Any other time I would say yes, but we're trying to be as cautious as possible, especially since it's not confirmed whether or not this disease is transmittable to pets. I'm not sick. Me, with all due respect, unless you were tested for COVID in the last 15 minutes, neither one of us knows that for sure. I do not wish to jeopardize your health or ours. Please understand. Ugh, you're being so dramatic. It's just a flu. You should stop listening to the mainstream media and learn some facts. Crying I wanna pet the kitty. I wanna. Now you made my son cry. Fine. I want to take one of those kittens home myself. How much are they? Me. They're $100 each to adopt, but it's not that easy. You need to fill out an application. Oh, for goodness sake. They're just cats. I can go find one on the street. What's the big deal? Me. We want them to go to good homes that will fit their personalities and your lifestyle. We ask for an application and an interview with our adoption coordinator to ensure that nobody winds up in the wrong home. And you don't think I take care of my animals? Me. Not at all, Mom. This is just our process. We need to make sure that the cats we adopt go to homes where they'll do well in, and that the family that takes them will mesh with the cat's personality. Please respect it. Any other animal shelter will require you to do the same. I don't care. My son wants to hold the cat. Let him hold it now. Me. No. Fine. I'll be waiting in the parking lot for them. Maybe you'll change your tune when you're not on camera. Foster. Excuse me. Did you just threaten me and my animals? I don't know about that. Maybe I did. Maybe you hand over one of the cats and we call it even. Me. Oh hell number. Manager, who was watching from a distance, runs over at the speed of a spry, but still elderly gentleman. Manager. What's wrong, fuzzy one? Me. Call the police. This lady just threatened to assault our foster and steal her cats. Manager pulls the phone off his belt and immediately calls the cops. Panicking, the woman grabs her still sobbing kid and books it out of the store, abandoning her cart. Manager tells the police to cancel the call because the lady just bounced. We waited and watched for a few minutes to make sure Karen didn't come back and that our foster was safe. We had Karen's face on camera so they know to watch for her next time. I hope she does try to adopt from us. It'll be the fastest denial I'll ever have the pleasure of issuing. Thank you. Next. This is my first time posting here and it's probably going to get buried. English isn't my first language and I'm using mobile, so forgive me for any mistakes or formatting errors. And this is kind of long, oops. And if somebody could write an appropriate TL. Doctor, I will add it in. Sorry, but I couldn't think of one. Edit. TL. Doctor in comments and at the end. This happened to my mum and me a long time ago, although I don't remember anything as I was very young. Before getting to the main story, I'd like to give some backstory on my aunt. EA entitled Aunt. C cousin. M my mom. D my dad, and well me. EA was the only sister of 7 brothers. So you can imagine how spoiled she was. She'd purposefully make her parents buy jewelry and other expensive items which they couldn't afford and keep a family of 10 afloat. In short, she got everything she wanted, and being an only sister/daughter had the sole attention and love of her parents and brothers. My dad especially really loved his sister and, to be honest, didn't care for my mum at all. He was also the favorite brother of EA. EA was married to a guy who couldn't exactly afford her lavish spending and she relied on my dad for everything she wanted. The moment my mom was married into the family, arranged marriage because that's how things work over here, EA got very jealous. Mainly because of the fact that until then she was the apple of his eye. And since my dad landed a pretty good job solely due to his hard work and built his own house, not to mention took in his mother and his mentally handicapped younger brother, because no one else could be bothered to look after them, she could easily leech off of him. She would torture my mother for any reason she could find. She wouldn't let D buy anything for M. She would make M do all the work in the whole household including hers, and even though she didn't stay at the house, she'd bring her laundry from her own house so M could wash it. When M was heavily pregnant with me and obviously wasn't supposed to do any tenuous work, she'd still force her to do everything including heavy lifting. M eventually left to her own home a month before her due date and got the rest she deserved, being taken care of by my sweet grandma. After I was born, M got a job as a teacher. It was her lifelong dream, even though she had to pay money to the school for it. Again, it's a government job and this is how it is for everyone here. My mum definitely wasn't cheating and was qualified for said job. M, having no other way, decided to ask D for the money required, which he was ready to give until EA storms in and shuts it down. Eventually M had to borrow money from her sister and land the job. There's tons of stories about her which I couldn't actually believe because I couldn't fathom the possibility that someone could be so entitled. Getting to the main story. After I was born, my dad completely shifted focus from EA to me because I was and still am his only child. EA didn't like this but knew how much D wouldn't like it if she did something to his child. As I said, D has a lot of siblings and he was the second youngest, so everyone else was already married and had kids of their own. When I was around 2 years old, D's mother decided to buy every grandchild a silver pendant and a special gold one for C as she was EA's kid. M bought a nice platinum chain for the pendant with her hard-earned money. My dad then decided to buy a nice diamond pendant because he thought it looked good with the chain and switched out the silver pendant. EA couldn't afford to buy a matching gold necklace for the pendant, so she pestered my dad to buy one for C, to which he complied. This was before she knew what he'd bought for me. To clarify, as far as I know, C isn't an entitled bitch and I like her a lot. Few days later she comes over with C. I was in the cradle and since we'd just come back from a wedding I was still wearing the necklace. EA sees this and belittles M, thinking it was fake, and brags about how C got a lovely gold pendant and matching chain. M didn't say anything and went on with her work. D came home and tells EA about the necklace during random chit chat. EA then asks D to give her the necklace for C. D says no and reminds her that she just bought C a gold chain. EA loses her shit. I think she just wasn't used to hearing no from D. Starts screaming about how her angel deserved it more and that D should give it to C as they didn't have as much money as we did. D firmly said no and tells her how even if he wanted to he couldn't as the chain was bought by M. EA tries to snatch the necklace from my neck, which promptly made me cry, which apparently annoyed her even more. M swats her hand away, livid at the fact that she was not only stealing but hurting her child in the process. To which she had a whole meltdown, bawling about how D didn't care for her or C at all and all his attention went to me. D stood his ground and said number. Then this person decides to tell D, who literally catered to her every wish, how worthless of a brother he is and how his daughter is going to turn up just like him. I think D just snapped at that point. He told her to leave his house and how he's so tired of dealing with her shit. She then angrily left the house. Next day she came back again, bringing some homemade snacks and sweet talking about how she just had a mood swing and how she was so sorry. D entertained this for a while, thinking that she was genuinely sorry, but then she tried to ask for the necklace again and the same argument ensued, after which she was kicked out and told never to come back to his house again. I guess after that she understood her place and that D wasn't going to bend to her will anymore, especially if it was regarding me. She passed away a couple of years later. My mum rejoiced at the passing away of this evil incarnation. TL. Doctor, my mum bought me a platinum necklace. My dad bought a gold necklace for his sister's daughter because his sister couldn't afford to buy one. My aunt seized my necklace and tried to steal it twice because apparently free gold isn't good enough. Thank you. Next. I'm new here, but my fiancé said this story would fit in this thread. Background. I'm a 23-year-old guy, and my fiancé, 20, and I live in a fairly rich town. With COVID-19 causing almost everything to shut down, we've stayed at home, unless we run out of essentials. The cast, EP, the villain me, who else? The story, a little over a week ago, we ran out of toilet paper. So I went to the store. With everything starting to go nuts right around then, there were only 4 or 5 packs of toilet paper left, which of course, we were out of. I grabbed one pack and put it in my cart. I went onto another aisle to get some snacks. I need my hot Cheetos. And I left my cart next to me to browse the shelves. As I was placing the spicy selection into my cart, I saw a hand reaching towards my toilet paper. I looked up to see EP, of course. Me. Excuse me, that's mine. I slapped her hands out of my cart. EP, well, I need it. I have kids and we might run out. Me, lady, I am out. There was more in the aisle a few minutes ago. EP, no there wasn't. Me. Too bad. I quickly turned my cart around and left the aisle. I grabbed a few more things and went to check out. I got to my car and drove home. Nothing too exciting, but still annoying, and kind of funny. Edit. I fixed a few mistakes I realized after rereading. Thank you. Next. So, where do I start? This event happened only hours ago. I was riding on the bus to return home from work. It's a fairly half-hour ride. Most of the times I'm on my phone, listening to some music while scrolling through Reddit or play games. Today I decided to just listen to music and have a snack. I always carry croissants in my bag with strawberry jelly and butter. No more than 2 minutes after I got my croissant out of my bag, I feel a tap on the back of my shoulder. I turn around and who do I see? The Mad Titan Karen and her little spawn. The conversation went something like this. Me, yes, excuse me young man. But do you think my son can have that? Points at my croissant. He hasn't eaten anything all day and I've been too busy to get him some food. Me, sorry but this is the only one I got and cuts me off. Don't make it such a big deal. It's only a dumb croissant. I'm sure you have more in your bag. I can see from here that it's full with stuff. Me, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Either way it's not really your business. Now please leave me alone EK. Mommy, you said I can have a croissant Yes honey, but that mean person won't give you the croissant. Turns on me, see? You're making my baby sad. Give him the croissant now. Me, no, I'm not giving your kid my snack. And don't blame this on me. It's your bad parenting you should blame. Teaching your child to take food from strangers? Who in their right mind does that? How dare you talking to me like that? You know I'm old enough to be your mother. Give me that. Then tries to grab either my croissant or my bag off my hands. She probably thought I had more in, which I didn't. But with that act in place I pushed away from me and she fell on the bus floor. She then started yelling of how I assaulted her and that she's gonna sue me. The bus stopped and the driver hopped off his seat and stormed on our way. And you could tell he was not happy. BD, what the hell is going on? He assaulted me. PLZ call the police. This man is crazy. Me, you assaulted me first. I just defended myself. BD, yeah cut the crap. I saw you from the camera. Bus drivers in my country have installed security cameras so they can see what is going on in their bus from a little monitor at their driving seat. But, BD, get off my bus before I call the cops on you. Grabbed her kid, who's now crying and throwing a tantrum, and left the bus. BD asked if I'm okay. I told him yes and he made a joke of how crazy that woman was to make me laugh. What a nice guy. Thank you. Next. As preface, I don't worship Satan. I play Dungeons and Dragons. So last year I got invited to work as a swim coach at the country club where I first started swimming, as I no swim at the D1 college level. This was an incredible opportunity for me and I loved it. I am very well liked by almost all the parents, even some I've known for over a decade. The entitled mother in this story was pretty new, only being there now for a year. Last summer I had started getting in Dungeons and Dragons and I honestly love it so much. I was at a game store looking at getting new dice and books while having a guy there explain miniatures to me when came in, as she had seen me outside. She was very nice and asked me what I was doing there. I said I was here to get some stuff to play D&D, and that's when things turned bad as she started to call me a Satan worshipper, saying her piece, then left, and I thought that was the end of it. Boy was I wrong. The next day at practice I was with this little 5-year-old boy who I had known since he was born, and the came over to yell at me to not corrupt him. After yelling at me, the little boy's mother came over to me and asked what was going on. The said I was a Satan worshipper and maybe worse, insinuating I was a pedophile. This mom had known me since I was a little kid and had helped babysit her youngest 2 children and was always best friends with her oldest kid who had Down syndrome, but he was the coolest guy I ever met and he and I did private lessons all the time. Looking confused, I explained the situation and the mom helped me to get her to back off. Yet it still didn't end there. She talked to other parents at the club to get them against me. Unfortunately for her, I was the club's golden boy, a title I don't really liked or cared about. I got it for being the team's best swimmer ever and really good with kids. When this didn't work, she went to my boss, the head coach. Now the head coach didn't like me as I had tried to get her fired. There's several reasons I did this. Mainly she as the head lifeguard left no one there to watch the pool to go on dates, then got a promotion. I got treated poorly, but when going to the higher up she was let go. I had also known him since I was a kid as well. In the end the EM didn't get her way, but she had tried to take my job away for a hobby. I am still super into D&D and she still claims I'm a violent Satanist. She says this as she found out I love hard rock and play video games, but I was lucky because I knew all these people. It's sad because to avoid dealing with this I don't think I will be applying again this year, which is upsetting because of all the memories there, and it was ruined by a game meant to help people connect socially, be creative, use problem solving, and just have fun. Thank you. Next. So this happened when I was 16. I'm almost 21 now. As the title said, this happened to me on Christmas. I worked as a hostess in a restaurant that was in a hotel that was part of a ski resort. A little confusing. Anyway, on Christmas Day, we were completely booked. Literally no space at all for any walk-ins, and to-go orders would take at least an hour to make. As I'm just chilling at the host stand, waiting for the next guest to come in, the phone rings. I answer it with my usual greeting and I have this entitled dad on the other line. Since this happened years ago, this is a general idea of the conversation. Yes, I'd like to make a reservation for 6 people tonight. Me, I'm so sorry sir, but unfortunately, since it is Christmas night, we're booked solid and have no availability. However, I can do a to-go order, though it will take at least an hour to be ready. Ugh. Let me talk to everyone. I'll call back. He hung up. I go on seating guests, and I even had my manager come to see if there was a way we could possibly fit the guy and his family in. There wasn't. A few moments later the ED calls back. I do my usual greeting and he informs me who he is. What if we separated into 2 tables? Like 3 and 3, or 2 and 4? Me, I'm sorry sir, but as I told you before, we're completely booked for the night. I even had my manager look, and there's nothing we can do. I am happy to get you a to-go order though. This is outrageous. I have to talk to my family again. He hangs up again. I go back to seating people, and eventually, the ED called back. Again, I greet him with my usual. He tells me who he is. I suppose we'll do a to-go order. Me, great. It will be at least an hour before it's ready. However, if you leave a name and phone number for the order, I'd be happy to call when it's ready. An hour. This is f***ing ridiculous. Whatever. We'll have. He tells me his order. Me, alright, your total will be blank and I'll call you as soon as it's ready. You better. This is awful service. Hangs up. I go back to work and kind of forget about this guy. Eventually, his order is ready, and I call him to let him know. He answered, and was very curt with me. When he showed up, he had a kid in tow, probably to help carry the food, about 10 years old. I took his card, gave him the food, everything seemed fine, until, so do you have a table for my family and I to eat this at? Me, I'm sorry sir, but like I told you over the phone twice, we're completely booked for the night. You're just being a f***ing BTCH. I was shocked he had said this, since I was 16, just doing my job, and he had his kid with him. I just kind of stood there for a few seconds. Me, I am sorry you feel that way sir. Let me get my manager for you. I went to my manager's office and told him the whole story. He already knew part of it, as he had tried to help figure out a way to seat them earlier. My manager came out to the host stand with me where ED and his kids were still waiting. Sir, my hostess told me what you said to her. I'm going to wish you a very Merry Christmas and request you not come back to our restaurant for the remainder of your stay. Happy holidays. With that, the ED just stood for a few seconds before walking away defeated. I never saw him again, and I quit that place a few months later.